Assalamu alaikum. In this video we will discuss typhoid. First we will give the brief introduction about what is typhoid. Typhoid is also known as enteric fever, that is typhoid fever. Typhoid fever is an acute illness that is associated with fever caused by salmonella typhi bacteria. Remember this pathogenic agent, that is salmonella typhi bacteria. It can also be caused by salmonella paratyphi but is less common. Major cause of morbidity and mortality, and it is a foodborne or waterborne disease. The bacteria are deposited in water or food by a human carrier and then spread to the other people. Cause. The cause of typhoid is salmonella typhi. It belongs to family Enterobacteriaceae and these are gram-negative bacilli. Here you can see these are gram-negative bacilli. These organisms best grow at 37 degree centigrade. Transmission. These are transmitted through the fecal oral route. Like a person releases or excretes these organisms through the feces, and these feces when contaminate the water or food, then through oral route these are transmitted to the other human beings. It also spreads through close contact with patients or carriers, and contaminated water and food, as I told you, is the way of transmission of these bacteria. Flies and cockroaches can also lead to spread of this organism. Now the question is typhoid contagious? Yes, typhoid is highly contagious. An infected person can pass the bacteria out of their body in their stools, that is feces, or less commonly in their urine. Contamination of the water supply can in turn taint the food supply. The bacteria can survive for weeks in water or dried sewage and then is transmitted to the human beings. How do people get typhoid fever? They work or travel to area where typhoid fever is endemic. Work as a clinical microbiologist handling salmonella typhi bacteria. Have close contact with someone who is infected or has recently been infected with typhoid fever, because he can release or excrete the typhoid salmonella typhi bacteria in feces. The person that drinks water that is contaminated by sewage that contains the salmonella typhi can get the typhoid fever. The next question is, how long is a person with typhoid fever is contagious? A person with typhoid fever is contagious anywhere from days to years. They can become a chronic carrier and therefore can spread this infection to up to years. Some researchers suggest that a few individuals may be contagious indefinitely. About 3% to 5% of people become carriers of the bacteria after acute illness. Others suffer a very mild illness that goes unrecognized. These people may become long-term carriers of bacteria even though they have no symptoms and the source of outbreaks of typhoid fever for many years. So they can spread this bacteria to other human beings for several years. Now, what is the pathophysiology of typhoid fever? When we ingest contaminated food, in this food the bacilli, that is bacilli of salmonella typhi, enter the small intestine and therefore invade the small intestinal mucosa. Then these are taken up by the macrophages and transported to the regional lymph nodes. Salmonella typhi multiply in the intestinal lymphoid tissue and intact with the enterocytes and M cells. These are ileal pair patches during the 1 to 3 week of incubation period. This leads to diarrhea. After the end of incubation period, these bacilli of Salmonella typhi enter the bloodstream. This is known as bacteremia, and then onset of symptoms of typhoid fever start. Bacteria invade the gallbladder, biliary system, lymphatic tissue of the bowel and multiply in high number. Then these organisms pass into the intestinal tract and are excreted through the stool and therefore can be transmitted through fecal oral route. What are the main symptoms of this typhoid fever? After the incubation period of 10 to 14 days, that can be longer, the symptoms are often non-specific and clinically non-distinguishable from other febrile illnesses. However, clinical severity varies and severe cases may lead to serious complications or even death. Here you can see fever, constipation, rose spots. These are the red spots. Rose spots. Here you can see headache, fatigue, and other symptoms appear. What are the clinical features? We classify the clinical features into different stages. In stage 1, that is first week, slowly rising step-ladder function of temperature for 4 to 5 weeks, abdominal pain and myalgia, that is muscle pain, malaise, headache, constipation and bradycardia. In second week, that is second stage, signs and symptoms of first week progress, while at the end of second week, delirium, complications, coma and death can occur if it is untreated. At the end of first week, rose spots may appear on the upper abdomen. Rose spots appear on the upper abdomen and on the back of the spouse. Cough also appears. Splenomegaly occurs. Abdominal distension with tenderness occurs, and in first week diarrhea mostly occurs at the beginning, but at the end constipation occurs. Here you can see these rose spots. These rose spots fade on pressure and are usually visible on the white people. Third stage is that occurs in the third week. The febrile illness becomes toxic and anorexic. Significant weight loss occurs. Apathy, confusion and psychosis occur, while 5 to 10% of people are those in which the hemorrhage and perforation of intestine occurs and it can lead to death. In stage 4, that is fourth week, recovery occurs. If the individual survives to the fourth week, fever, mental state and abdominal distension slows improve over a few days. These symptoms improve in the fourth week. Intestinal and neurologic complications may still occur in surviving untreated individuals. Weight loss and debilitated weakness last months. This should be remembered. Weight loss and debilitating weakness lasts for months. Some survivors become asymptomatic salmonella typhi carriers, as I have mentioned before this, and they have the potential to transmit the bacteria indefinitely. These are the symptoms of typhoid fever. You can see this is high fever, headache, weakness, dry cough, stomach pain, constipation, and these are rose spots. Paratyphoid fever is caused by salmonella paratyphi, and the course tends to be shorter and milder than that of typhoid fever, and the onset is often more abrupt with acute enteritis. The rash may be more abundant and the intestinal complications are less frequent. Rash is more abundant. What are the complications of this infection? In intestine, perforation and hemorrhage occurs. These conditions are life-threatening conditions. Septicemic foci occur in the bone and joint infection occurs, meningitis occurs, and cholecystitis can occur. Toxic phenomena, myocarditis and nephritis can occur. These are the complications of typhoid. Some people become the chronic carriers and therefore these release the salmonella typhi through the gallbladder in the intestine and then in the stools. For diagnosis and investigation, we do the blood culture and we perform the specific serologic tests to identify the salmonella antibodies and antigens. Fluorescent antibody staining is also used to diagnose salmonella typhi. Vidal test and ELISA are also used frequently. Urine and stool culture in the second and third week are done. Marrow culture can also be done. Punch biopsy samples of rose spots can also be done for culture. Now we will discuss the serology of the typhoid fever. The serological studies are also known as the Vidal test. In case of typhoid fever, we detect salmonella typhi and salmonella paratyphi. For serology, we perform the Vidal test. It is a tube agglutination test. Here you can see we use a test tube. It detects the O and H antibodies. Diagnosis of typhoid and paratyphoid bacteria can occur, that is salmonella typhi and salmonella paratyphi are diagnosed through this Vidal test. We test for H agglutinins in the dryer tubes and narrow tube flocules at the bottom. Testing for O agglutinins in Felix tubes, chalky and incubated at 37 degree overnight. Here you can see the performance of Vidal test, in which the antibodies against the specific antigens are detected. Other non-specific lab studies are moderate anemic, increased ESR, thrombocytopenia, lymphopenia, slightly elevated prothrombin time and activated partial thromboplastin time, decreased fibrinogen level, liver transaminase and bilirubin increased 2x normal. These are also the tests, but these are non-specific. Mild hyponatremia and hypokalemia is seen in case of typhoid fever, and serum ALT, that is alanine transaminase LDH ratio, is greater than 9:1 in case of viral hepatitis, while it is lesser than 9:1 in case of typhoid hepatitis. Treatment. The person should take the rest, and the medical care is giving the antibiotics, corticosteroids and antipyretics to control the fever. Diet should be containing fluid and electrolytes. Soft digestible diet is preferred in absence of abdominal distension and ileus, and there is surgical care in cases of intestinal perforation and hemorrhage. The antibiotics that are mostly used are chloramphenicol 500 milligrams, ampicillin 750 milligrams QID, cod trimoxazole 2 tablets per IV BDS. It means 4 times daily, and BDS means 2 times daily. But now many salmonella typhi bacteria have developed resistance against these drugs, and now we use different antibiotics like fluoroquinolones, ciprofloxacin, third generation cephalosporins like ceftriaxone, cefotaxime. These are one of the most famous drugs that are used now in the treatment of typhoid fever. Azithromycin 500 milligrams once daily, alternative when fluoroquinolone resistance is present. Treatment should be continued for 14 days. Chronic carriers were formerly treated for 4 weeks with ciprofloxacin, but may require an alternative agent and duration as guided by antimicrobial sensitivity testing. Cholecystectomy may be necessary to decrease the risk of transmission by the carrier person. This is all about the treatment of salmonella typhi infection, that is typhoid. Thank you.